Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Man United are not expected to sign Saul Niguez. It recently said Man United distance themselves from Saul Niguez rumours. Chelsea have overtaken Man United in the race to sign Saul Niguez. He said the loan terms have been agreed. Chelsea have already made an official bid for Niguez. It's an initial loan with an option to buy next summer. Now, it said a couple of days ago that Saul Niguez is set to complete an imminent transfer to Man United, and Fabrizio Romano mentioned that the Saul Niguez transfer was on. He said Man United would bring Saul Niguez in on an initial loan. He said the loan deal would include an option to buy, or maybe even an obligation to buy, and it said obviously Man United would have paid a loan fee and would have paid the midfielder's full wages for the entire season. But it did say from the Manchester Evening News that Man United were unlikely to make a move for Saul Niguez because obviously we've got to sell some players to get him. It said Man United were set to hijack Chelsea's bid to sign Saul Niguez. Now, before the start of the season, Man United made contact with the agents of Saul Niguez, and it did say that the agents of Saul Niguez were due in England for talks with Manchester United and Liverpool. Niguez already has a gentleman's agreement in place with Atletico Madrid, which allows him to leave. He's remained loyal to Atletico Madrid for so long. He's been with them for 13 years, so he's been a long-serving player. You know, he's risen up Atletico Madrid's academy. He's made over 300 appearances in all competitions. He has a £128 million release clause. He's under contract with Atletico Madrid until 2026 because back in 2017 he signed a 9-year contract. He can be deployed as a central midfielder or a defensive midfielder. He's valued at £38 million. Now, I want to give you some more news on Eduardo Camavinga. So, Man United accelerate Eduardo Camavinga interest. Reports from France said not so long ago that Camavinga is set to leave Rennes before the transfer window closes. Rennes are prepared to sell Camavinga for 30 million. Camavinga has already made Rennes supporters aware that he played his final game at the club. The other week, Eduardo Camavinga's agent Jonathan Barnett did mention that Camavinga was in no rush to decide his future. Fabrizio Romano has spoken a lot about the Camavinga transfer saga. He said the other week that Camavinga has two options this summer, including Man United. Earlier on in the summer, Mohamed Bouafsi came out and said that Camavinga's agent was pushing Camavinga towards Man United, but he did mention that the player's preference was PSG. Camavinga's current contract at Rennes expires next year. Solskjaer is pushing to make one more signing before the transfer window closes. The transfer window shuts on Tuesday. The Manchester Evening News recently said that Man United are unlikely to make any more signings before the transfer window closes. But Solskjaer's priority is to get a midfielder in. We have made 3 signings in this summer transfer window. We brought Tom Eaton in on a free from Aston Villa. We brought Jadon Sancho in from Borussia Dortmund. And we brought Rafael Varane in from Real Madrid. And we spent around £113 million. Earlier on in the summer, Solskjaer did mention that he's been pleased with our summer transfer business. I think Man United have enjoyed a very good summer transfer window, and it's good to see that Solskjaer has received the backing he deserves. You know, Solskjaer wasn't backed enough for such a long time. Manchester United need to sell to buy. We have not sold one single player in this summer transfer window. And I'm surprised in that aspect. We've loaned quite a few players out. We recently loaned Brandon Williams out to Norwich. We loaned Andres Pereira out to Flamengo. We loaned Ethan Laird out to Swansea. We loaned Axel Tuanzebe out to Aston Villa. We loaned Facundo Pellistri out, and we also loaned Tahith Chong out to Birmingham. Solskjaer did say before the game against Southampton that it looks like James Garner's going to be going out on loan. Amad Diallo, I'm expecting him to go out on loan because Fabrizio Romano said not so long ago that Amad Diallo is still expected to leave Man United on loan. He mentioned that Crystal Palace have asked for him, so has Sheffield United. He's only interested in Premier League clubs. Atlanta want to re-sign Amad Diallo on loan, but before the Southampton game, Solskjaer said he expects Amad Diallo to stay at Man United this season because Solskjaer revealed how impressed he was with Amad Diallo in training. We brought Amad Diallo in back in January from Atlanta. We got him in a deal worth £37 million. We paid £19 million up front. But the players I want Manchester United to offload, I want us to offload Phil Jones. Won't be offloading him in this summer transfer window because Phil Jones is staying at Man United this season after Solskjaer told him he remains part of his plans. There's a good chance Jones will leave in January next year or next summer. Jones made his comeback from injury in that behind closed doors game against Burnley. Jones was out with a knee injury for a while. He sustained the knee injury in the FA Cup game against Tranmere. Jones is the only outfield player that's still with us from the Ferguson era. He's been a long-serving player at Man United. He's endured 10 years at the club. He's always been inconsistent. Like I've said to you before, I want Man United to offload Delors. To be honest with you, I don't think we're going to now. It said a few weeks ago anyway, it's very likely that Diego Dalot will be staying at Man United. To be fair to Dalot, he was impressive throughout pre-season, and he was out on loan with AC Milan last season. I want us to also offload Victor Lindelof. We may offload him next year. We won't offload him in this summer transfer window. I've got my strong reservations about Lindelof because he's always been a static centre-half and he makes too many mistakes. Lindelof's under contract with Man United until 2024. We got him for 31 million from Benfica back in 2017. Fred, he's another player I want us to get rid of because Fred isn't good enough to represent the club. Fred was absolutely abysmal against Southampton last weekend. Obviously Southampton's goal came from an own goal from Fred. Che Adams it in, it got deflected off Fred. Plus Fred's positioning was poor against Southampton and he gave the ball away far too many times. Fred's had his good games at Man United. We certainly overpaid for him. We got him in a deal worth, 50 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. I think there's a good chance we'll offload Fred next summer. Won't offload him now. Matic, I wanted to offload him now, but we won't. We could offload him next year. Matic was also very poor against Southampton last week. Matic has always been a static midfielder, and he's aging up. We shouldn't have given him that new 3-year contract before the start of last season. Matic has been at Man United for 4 years now. We got him for 40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. Donny van de Beek, I think we should offload him because he's not getting enough game time at Manchester United now. I'm hoping Van de Beek can start against Wolves this Sunday. Van de Beek didn't play any part against Southampton last weekend. This is Van de Beek's second full season at Man United. Last season, Van de Beek made 36 appearances for us in all competitions, but most of them appearances come from the bench. Van de Beek only started, 4 games in the league last season. I haven't really had much of a perception on him at Man United, but in general he's a good player. I thought he was good when he was at Ajax. We got Van de Beek in a deal worth 40 million from Ajax, with add-ons included. He's got a contract with Man United till 2025 and he's versatile. He can play in 3 different roles. And Martial, he's another player I want us to offload, but we won't be offloading him this season because the Telegraph said before the start of the season that Man United have got no intentions of selling Martial as he's part of Solskjaer's plans this season. Martial played against Southampton last week and I thought he was very, very poor. Martial has been at Manchester United for 6 years. He's got 3 years left on his contract and he receives £200,000 a week. Martial scored 78 goals for Man United in all competitions. Last season he was out with a knee injury for a while. Martial's had 2 good seasons at Man United. He was good in his debut season under Van Gaal and he was good the season before last. Jesse Lingard, I also want us to offload him. Will we be able to offload him before Tuesday? Not so long ago, Solskjaer confirmed that Jesse Lingard remains part of his first team plans this season despite the ongoing speculation. Now it's Everton and West Ham that are interested in him. West Ham's first team coach Stuart Pearce said the other week that West Ham want to sign Jesse Lingard and he mentioned that he's a special lad. Fabrizio Romano did mention that West Ham were ready to submit another bid for Lingard, because it said West Ham received a huge boost in their pursuit of Lingard, because we dropped our asking price for Lingard to 20 million. Initially, we was demanding 30 million. West Ham were struggling to meet that asking price. Lingard enjoyed a 4-month loan spell with West Ham last season, and he made an impact. Lingard's current contract at Man United expires next year. You know, Lingard has been part of the club for a long time. So, there you go. So far this season, we have registered 4 points from our first 2 league games. You know, we beat Leeds on the opening day 5-1, and we drew 1-1 last week with Southampton. As you all know, there is some Man United fans already demanding Ole out. As you all know, we play Wolves this Sunday. I've already given you my preview for that game. I give you my predictions on it, and I give you my predicted 11. I presume Solskjaer will be doing his press conference tomorrow ahead of the game against Wolves. I'll be giving you my reaction to his press conference. The game on Sunday will be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 100th Premier League game as Manchester United manager. It's a game Manchester United must win. You know, this season is absolutely massive for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I think he is aware of that. Because Solskjaer has got big expectations to exceed. A lot of United fans reckon that the expectations are far too high for him. Solskjaer has not yet won any silverware as Man United manager, and we haven't won any silverware since 2017, so this season Solskjaer has to win some silverware to basically save his job at Man United. Solskjaer's ambition for this season is to win the Premier League. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013, which is 8 years ago. Before the start of the season, Solskjaer talked up Man United's title hopes, if you do remember rightly. I think Man United will be title contenders this season, with obviously Man United bringing Sancho and Raphael Varane in. But I'll stick to what I've said before. Solskjaer is not the long-term manager for Man United, and I think a lot of United fans will agree with me on that aspect. Solskjaer's managed over 150 games as Man United manager in all competitions. This is his 3rd full season. Quite a few weeks ago now, Solskjaer signed a new contract with the club until 2024. There was an option of a further year. I presume a lot of United fans disagreed with us giving him that new contract, because Solskjaer won't see out this new contract. Solskjaer must have had like 7 or 8 months left on the current contract he signed when he got the job permanently back in March 2019. Solskjaer has been in charge of Man United now for almost 3 years. And reflecting now on he's been at the football club, he has gained some managerial experience and he's learned quite a bit on the job. The reason Solskjaer's lasted as long as he has done is because he's a club legend. That's what's basically saved his job. because we've endured very bad periods under Ollie where he's been extremely close to getting sacked. Told you my two biggest concerns about Ollie. That's his decision making. Analysing the vast majority of his games at Man United, he's been tactically naive, and he hasn't got a proven pedigree as a manager. But when we have been inconsistent and when we are inconsistent, not all the blame stems from Ollie. Obviously he's accountable for certain things, but obviously there's certain players that have had to take responsibility, because there's still certain players at Man United that are not good enough to represent the club. And like I said to you, our board's been one of the biggest issues at the club for so many years. Like I said to you, Woodward, he's been one of the biggest issues at the club for a long time. Because obviously Woodward was accountable for how poor our recruitment was, plus we've overpaid for players in recent years. But Woodward has stood by Solskjaer, and he has said several times before that he'd back Solskjaer. Woodward's leaving Man United. He got announced Woodward was leaving when that European Super League came into the equation. Woodward's had a 16-year association with the club. Like I said, the Glazers have been one of the biggest issues at the club for a long time, because they've put Man United in so much debt. The Glazers have been at Man United for 16 years. They purchased the club for 500 million back in 2005. But surprisingly, the Glazers have backed Solskjaer in this summer transfer window, only because they'd been persuaded to, because towards the end of last season, a lot of United fans protested against the Glazers at Old Trafford. Because, as you all know, the Glazers were planning to scrap the Champions League for that European Super League. But Solskjaer did reveal that the Glazers apologised. He said the Glazers could have been forced to sell Man United, but for only £4 billion. And John Murtaugh, who's our director of football, he's played a part in getting Solskjaer the players he wanted in. We certainly made the right decision getting a director of football in, because I did mention it's one of the structural changes that we needed at the club. And obviously, Matt Judge is part of the club, and so too is Darren Fletcher. But there is positives regarding Ollie. Solskjaer has made good signings as Manchester United manager. Solskjaer has signed 13 players so far, and he's spent just over £400 million in total. Solskjaer's also got rid of a lot of players since he's come in. He's got rid of quite a lot of players permanently. He's loaned quite a lot of players out as well. Some of them players have come back from their loans. Some have obviously gone back out on loan. Solskjaer's more or less giving everybody their chances to express themselves, including the young players, like he showed he would do when he got appointed in. And I like the way Solskjaer develops the youth. Another positive is that we have extended a lot of players' contracts since Solskjaer got appointed in. Not all the players we're giving new contracts to, though, deserve new contracts, but a lot of them did and do. Solskjaer did recently say he wants new contracts for 5 players. That's Pogba, Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, Marcus Rashford and Bruno Fernandes. Solskjaer has beaten quite a few big name managers as Man United manager. He's beaten Ancelotti a few times, he's beaten Julian Nagelsmann, he's beaten Thomas Tuchel, he's beaten Pep Guardiola a few times, beating Jurgen Klopp in the FA Cup, but he's not yet beaten Jurgen Klopp in the league. He's also beaten Brendan Rodgers. He's beaten Bielsa around 3 times as well. So There you go. And also he's beaten Jose Mourinho. And you can see that progress has been made under Ole. You know, Ole's got us to semi-finals. You know, he got us to 3 semi-finals in his first full season, and last season he got us to the EFL Cup semi-final, did Ole. Last season he got us to the Europa League final. That was his first major final as Man United manager. And last season also got us to the FA Cup quarter final. So there you go. And last season Solskjaer got us a 2nd place finish, and in his first full season he got us a 3rd place finish. So there you go, they are positives. You know, Solskjaer's been permanent Manchester United manager since March 2019. We give him the job permanently, reflecting how well he did as the interim manager. We appointed him in December 2018 to replace Mourinho. Ole is our best manager since Ferguson, despite me criticising him a lot during his managerial tenure at Man United. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.